Welcome to the OdoShow. Busting cleaning myths and misconceptions, here we go. Brought to you by OdoBan, here are your hosts.
Broadcasting live from the top floor penthouse suite of the OdoBan World Manufacturing Headquarters in wonderful Warner Robins, Georgia. You're watching The OdoShow.
I'm Val.
And I'm Dave, and this is our special guest star, Chester the Wonder Cat. And we are coming to you live with all the best cleaning tips to keep your world clean. So if you guys are clean freaks like us, make sure and like our Facebook page, subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, and click the bell button. That way you'll be getting reminders every time we're kicking it live like we are right now. And we're doing this every 2:30 p.m. on Thursdays in October. And we've got some really great content for you guys still coming up, so make sure and subscribe and get those messages.
That's right. And if you can't join us live, you can always catch us on a podcast on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, and more. So also we have old episodes, and you can catch some other fun stuff too on our YouTube page. And that is a quick link of odo.show, which is different.
Strange.
It's weird. It's
not
new.
.com.
It's new.
Not .org. It's .show.
ODO.show. SHOW.
That's right.
So
now,
catch us and it'll take you directly to our channel.
That's right. This is our third episode in October, and this is actually our 10th episode overall. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know that I didn't think we'd be doing this for 10 episodes.
No, I didn't either. I just thought this was just going to be a fun thing and it was just going to fade out. But no, man, we're still here having fun. And you know what? We're having fun because of you guys. You know, you come and you hang out with us and we get to do this, and
it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Special shout out to our Odo Bandits too. You know, they're the official Facebook group page fan of OdoBan. If you want to find out how to become an Odo Bandit, go to odoban.com, and there's information there on how to join the group. They get all the latest Odo news and some specials, and they're really a dedicated group. So check that out. It's a lot of fun over there. Now, we also have, I was just looking at our chat here, we've got the chat page up and running.
Hey, Haley.
Haley Alexa says,
and
hey.
Meadows, hey.
What's up, guys? And so if you've got questions or you've got comments and you want to talk to us live, drop it in the chat. We'll be checking back with this all throughout the program and talking with you guys live, which frankly is kind of my favorite part of this whole shebang.
That's right. And you know what? This is actually a really good show for you guys to comment on. I would love to hear a lot of feedback from you.
Yeah.
So at the end of the show, we're going to be giving away 3 prize packs. So, you know, if you send us some comments and everything, you know, we will be handing those out at the end of the show. And today's show is all about treasures. We're talking about secondhand treasures. So, you know, if you've got a favorite secondhand find or something weird maybe you picked up somewhere, comment and let us know about it. And better yet, if you've got a picture of it, post that too.
Yeah,
because at the end of the show, I'll be picking from comments, so I might just pick yours.
You just never know. We love these things. I mean, you know, going to thrift stores and yard sales and going junking, even, you know, inheriting stuff that comes down through your family. This is really cool stuff, but sometimes you get things that are a little bit funky. They smell funny and need cleaned up.
Storage and, you know, musty.
And this whole show actually got put together because one of our friends, Ashley, tagged OdoBan on a Facebook group called Weird Secondhand Finds That Just Need to Be Shared. Now,
that is an awesome
page. There's some weird stuff out there in the thrift stores. You guys should check that out. But somebody posted about buying something that smelled bad, and so Ashley recommended using our product. And we got to thinking, we love this stuff, and you guys probably do too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you do. So we would love to see, you know, what you have. We brought in some of our things that we're going to share with you today. So yeah, give us a comment and let us know what you've got.
Yeah, I mean, we even actually use secondhand stuff here at OdoBan in production, don't we? Like, we got some pictures for you guys. That first one there, this is something you use, isn't it?
That's right. That's something that my coworker's husband had run across, you know, in one of his little treasure hunts. And it is a 1957 Serger. It's a commercial sewing machine. And even though, you know, I mean, our jobs don't normally entail sewing, well, we're going to incorporate sewing somehow into our into our work.
Making custom banners, and I may have an OdoBan, sports coat sooner or later from our graphic design department. We'll see about all that.
That's right. We've got some things in store.
That machine is a beast. It is really cool.
It runs, and it's wonderful.
I love old stuff that you can still use.
I just don't know how to use it, but we're working on that.
You'll get there. Now, the next picture here, this is something that's actually yours in your house, right?
It is.
So tell us about this. This is really cool.
So I was in an antique shop, and they had a baby mattress springs, out of the crib. And it's just the springs themselves, and I was like, oh, I gotta have that. That's just
all the metal.
There's something going on here, yeah. So what I wound up doing with it is that I've got a room that's all paneled, and it's not 70s panel, but I mean it's wood in there, so it's dark, and I always need more light in there. So I thought, I'm going to make a light fixture out of this. So I took string lights, with the big round bulbs, and I put those in where the little springs are.
Oh, cool.
And it makes the best light.
It looks so cool. I love the picture.
It is. And in the wintertime, those lights give off heat, so it's warm. And at Christmas time, I'll put multicolored lights in it.
Festive.
Yeah, the bigger bulbs. It's really
fun.
Cool. Yeah, love
That's
that.
Neat. Now,
love that.
The last picture we've got here on this run is this is something from one of our coworkers, Brianne. This is a buffet that was her grandmother's that's been handed down, and her grandmother actually had this thing shipped all over the country. It was really important to her. Now, Brianne and her family are using it in the dining room there.
It is gorgeous.
It is beautiful. And she said they've looked all over on this thing and tried to find maker's marks, and she's never found any evidence of who built it or any evidence, never seen another one like it.
Right. I mean, I love the dark wood, and I love the little mirrors that are inside, on that
really
back part of the
cool.
hutch. It is beautiful. It really is. It's a one of a kind.
We're getting more check-ins here. Hey, Brenda. Yeah, you're right. It is old, the serger. But it's amazing how some of that old stuff
1957
still just runs great.
And we even have the manual to it. We still have that.
Yep. Haley says she hasn't found anything worth buying. Well, I brought home stuff that I don't know was worth buying.
Wait a minute. Haley Alexa says, I love antiquing beyond a jar of toenails. I haven't found anything worth buying. Oh, okay, but she does say she never did buy the toenails.
I don't know.
Toenails.
I might buy a jar of toenails. That's strange enough. I might buy.
You are gross.
Well, okay. I admit I'm a little strange.
But you know what? That would be a good one on that Facebook page.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yep.
Now, like we were saying, you buy some of this stuff and it comes home and it's funky and it smells. Well, of course, we're OdoBan, right? We got some tips on cleaning up those secondhand things you find. So my first tip is going to be, look at the stuff you find and try to decide, do I really want to clean this? Because, of course, if you clean the wrong thing and you take the old finish off, that patina, that old finish, that could have been half the value. Because you guys have seen on Antiques Roadshow, right? They go, well, that's worth $25,000. Well, it would be if you hadn't cleaned it. Now it's worth $5. That's just a heartbreaker.
That is right there.
Have any of you guys ever been through that, like cleaned something up you shouldn't have and lost a bunch of value on it? I don't know. I just don't know if it's that common. Tell us about it in the comments.
Yeah, let us know if you do have that story.
I'd like to know if that really happens to folks. Now, speaking of stuff like that, I've got one of my examples here. This little tractor. So this little guy is cast iron. It's from probably
so cute.
1920 or 25. This was one of my grandfather's toys when he was a child. I think it's from a company called Arcade, and it is a Fordson tractor. Now, this is a great example of something you don't really want to clean because it's got no paint anymore. It's just bare metal, and it's got this great patina. And if I were to just polish this up and clean all that off, well, I'd probably ruin any value it has, and it will just ruin the character of it too. But it does get dirty, right? It gets dusty sitting on the shelf. So the best thing you can do for stuff like this is get a soft bristle brush and just really work at that dust. Work that dust off of it, get the dirt off of it that accumulates. And that's a great way to clean something up. No chemicals, just the brush, without ruining whatever finish it has. Because you got to be careful. You sure don't want to blow out the value on something like that or just ruin its character.
That's true.
So that's my tip one, is be sure you want to clean it and don't clean it too much.
That's right. And then, antiques, and most of your antiques anyway, are usually pretty delicate.
Yeah.
So, you want to kind of handle all these with care and start out easy. Start out low and slow when it comes to cleaning them. I've got a set of oyster plates that my father-in-law had handed down to me, and these were his mother's. And they're just beautiful. They've got this nice, indents where you would put your oysters, but it's got the gold leaf, little design, and then around the edges. And this is something that can very easily be wiped off with the wrong cleaners. You definitely don't want to put anything in your dishwasher that has any type of gold leaf or any kind of metal accents to them.
Yeah.
And don't put those in the microwave, for God's sake.
Ooh, creates a beautiful lightning show, and in half a second it's ruined.
Yeah,
Poof,
sort of
gone.
like a firework.
Yeah,
so,
pow, gone.
Yeah, so that's it. But I started out with just, using water and like a microfiber cloth. This is one that we happen to carry. And so, I did all that with water, but it still had a little bit of a like grease, a little
that
stickiness.
sticky, been displayed in the kitchen for too
yeah,
long.
Like if you've had them displayed up on a shelf or something or on your cabinet. So at that point, then I took a little bit of dish soap and wet my cloth again, and then I went back over, and that's all it took to take care of this. And I was able to save these, and they don't have any damage to them. So that's just something that you really do want to
nice.
Go low and glow and slow.
Yeah, and Val's got a good point about that, especially when you're using chemicals to clean these things. You want to start out gentle. It's amazing with a simple microfiber cloth. This is our OdoBan microsham. You can get these at Home Depot. This and just a little bit of water, it's amazing how much dirt you can actually remove with this stuff. Like, we'll do a little demo here. So this is Chester, the Wonder Cat, as I mentioned before. Chester actually belonged to my wife's grandmother. He's been around our house for a while.
He's so pretty.
He's a cutie. And he's just realistic enough. You see him out of the corner of your eye and you're like, when did we get a cat? But he's gotten a little dusty hanging out down there on the floorboard. So I'm going to start with just a little spray of water. Now, here's another tip. Don't spray the cleaning chemical directly on the antique. Spray it on your towel first. So just a little mist of water on there. And I'm actually going to hit him a little bit here. And you may not be able to see that on Chester because he's got such cool shading. But with a little work, the dirt comes off and you can see it builds up on the towel there. Mm-hmm. Now, if the water doesn't get it, there's some stains here and some probably some of that grease from being near the kitchen. You want to move up to a little bit more gentle cleaner. The trick is you don't want to use really aggressive stuff. No. You don't want to use like acid bathroom cleaner.
Anything abrasive.
Nothing abrasive or a high pH cleaner like a real degreaser. But something like I've got our 32X Oxy General Purpose Cleaner here. That's a mouthful of a name. Now this is in our professional series, and it's a peroxide-based cleaner that's fairly gentle and won't hurt most of this stuff. So you can buy this online. It's kind of hard to find in stores since it's the professional series, but it's a great one. It comes in a gallon jug, and you just dilute it down. So again, I'm going to spray it on the cloth first. And we're going to hit him down here. He's collected a little dust on this end. See if I can do this without knocking our table over here. And see, that gets just a little deeper clean, pulls the dirt right out. So that's always the thing is start gentle and work a little more aggressive as you go. You certainly don't want to damage something that belonged to your spouse's grandmother.
No. Okay, so her grandmother was the one that owned this, right?
Yeah, it was the wife, Carrie's grandmother.
Well, that's pretty cool because, my grandmother actually collected animal figurines. She had several cats. I've got several cast iron cats that were hers. But anything that, she had in her house, doesn't look like this. It's missing. It's missing something.
What's wrong with Chester? What are you doing? What are you doing to my cat? What?
Now that looks like my grandmother's.
Googly eyes?
Googly eyes.
God, that's creepy. What? Your grandmother put googly eyes on the statue.
She put googly eyes on everything that had eyes to it. So it was crazy.
What? That's okay. All right, guys. Can you imagine walking through a house of these things with the googly eyes following you? That is bizarre. I kind of like it. It's like he's staring into your soul. Ah! Take those off. You are not right in the head.
Okay. Anyway, my grandmother was Googling before there was Google.
God.
Just saying.
Grandmothers and okay, well, speaking of grandmothers, I'm going to have nightmares now. Speaking of grandmothers, now my grandmother on my mother's side actually passed away a little over a decade ago. And my aunt and uncle inherited her estate and moved into her house. And I don't want to say they were hoarders,
but they were hoarders.
Yeah, God bless them. They packed all their crap in on top of Grandma's stuff, and then they packed more stuff in on top of that. And when they passed away a couple years ago, we had to go in and clean the house out. And I don't know if you guys have ever had to deal with this. They smoked like crazy. They packed all kind of crap into that house, and it just smelled horrible. So we get in there and start cleaning out. Massive ordeal. And in the middle of it, I find my grandmother's kitchen table. Now, this was the table that I grew up every Sunday eating Sunday dinner at. We'd go out to her house. And so they were using it as a workbench. There were power tools piled on it. it just broke my heart.
I was going to say that had to hurt your heart.
It was horrible. But
That's sentimental.
It is. And I rescued this table, took it back to my house, and my tip here is if you run into something that has specialty surfaces, think about buying specialty cleaners. Like this is one of those retro diner tables. I think we've got a picture of it going up here. So you got the red vinyl chairs and the chrome legs on it, the Formica top. It's the same thing that everybody's reproducing these days. But of course, this is an original, probably early 40s.
Yeah.
And my grandmother probably got it used, to be honest.
Wow.
So I bought chrome polish for the legs to take the rust off. I bought automotive polishing compound for some of the painted trim that had soaked up dirt. So you buff that back out and get it all shiny and clean. I used our 32X Oxy on the Formica top, and I bought vinyl cleaner for the chairs.
Smart.
And the point being, when you've got specialty surfaces, those specialty cleaning products actually do you a lot of good, and because you haven't got much invested in secondhand stuff, it's easy to spend the money on it because you really haven't spent that much money in the first place.
You know, that's a good way to look at it because, you know, when I would have things that I have bought and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the things that I need to buy to clean it, I'm spending more in that than I did on the initial item. But, you know, that's probably not really the right way to think about it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're looking at this in the long run. It's an investment. I saved money in buying it, you know, at a great deal.
Right.
So I've got that money to preserve it and to bring it back to life.
Look at your total money spent. You probably still spend a lot less than if you were buying something brand new. Plus, of course, you know, in this case, you've got the sentimental value of it.
That's right. That's
Now,
right.
something else that we pulled out of my grandmother's trailer, out of the hoard castle.
Horton Castle.
It was horrible. Was one of the hardest things to clean up when you buy it used and it's dirty and smells bad, and that's wood furniture.
Oh, that absorbs odor.
Wood is a hard thing to deal with when you're buying used items or buying secondhand goods. Now we've got a little trinket box here. This is from your family, right?
Well, I mean, it's been in our family, but it didn't start out in our family apparently, because there's some inscriptions on the bottom that says Ruth from Mary Jane.
And it's got a date, January 16th, 1949.
49.
Well,
49.
that's cool.
Okay, I don't know Ruth. I don't know Mary Jane, so I'm thinking.
But we've got their trinket box from Lookout Mountain, Tennessee.
We might have gotten that at a garage sale for all I know. But it's been in our family. I was a little girl because I mean the crayon marks on the inside.
Yeah, looks like her handwriting, doesn't it? So wood is one of the hardest things to deal with when you're buying secondhand if it's dirty and it smells funny, because it's such a unique material. You've got a couple major surfaces here. You've got a finished outside. Now this could be tabletop or drawer fronts, anything like that. Mm-hmm. And they've used hundreds of different types of finishes over the years. So if you're going to clean this, you want to make sure to use a mild cleaner, microfiber cloth like we talked about. Mm-hmm. Test in an inconspicuous area because every one of these finishes reacts differently to different chemicals.
They could be broken down.
They can be. So you want to start off cleaning it. If you get all the residue off of it, you know, cigarette smokers' houses have cigarette residue on everything. If it's been in storage, you could have, you know, mold and dust and all kind of things. But if you give it a good surface cleaning, that goes a long way to getting rid of those bad odors. Now, the second part of wood furniture is probably the harder to deal with, and that's the unfinished wood. Now, that's, you know, the inside of this box, which thankfully still smells like cedar, but it could be the underside of a table, or in our case, the chest of drawers from my grandmother's house, all the drawer work inside. So this is a different project to tackle. You have to think about this wood almost like it's fabric, because it's like a hard sponge. It soaks in all those bad smells, all the environment it's been around, and then you've got to get it back out. So the way I do this is start off with a surface clean with, again, something like the 32X Oxy. Mm-hmm. The peroxide is really good here because it breaks down those odor molecules.
And I would have never thought to do that.
It's a great thing to use on them. But you want to mist it on. You don't want to flood the surface and then wipe it all down. That gives you your initial clean. Then it's best to use your two main tools for raw wood to get rid of smells, and that is airflow and time. In other words, just let it air out. It's going to take a while, but that's the most effective thing you can do. That dresser we were talking about, I actually pulled the drawers out. We set it up in our garage in the summertime, and it took probably 6 months before it started really smelling better.
6 months?
Takes time.
Okay, so you said there was two things that you needed, which was airflow and time.
Right.
I'm thinking 3, patience.
Okay, yeah, patience does come into play there, especially if something's valuable to you, or heaven forbid you paid a whole lot for it.
And you're just itching to use it.
Yeah, you got to be patient about it. Now, this stuff smelled like hoarder, and that's not a smell that's going to go away real easily.
What does hoarder smell like?
Cat urine and cigarettes and dust and dirt and a little bit of mildew. If you've ever smelled hoarder, you know that smell.
I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah, you shouldn't have asked. So the best bet there is after letting it air out, if you've still got a fragrance issue or an odor issue, grab some of our OdoBan eucalyptus and mist it on. Again, you want to think about this like you're treating a sofa or a couch or something. Mist it on the surface, don't soak it down, and then let it sit. Let it dry. You may have to do this a few times, but that the fragrance in the eucalyptus and the OdoBan will take care of those remaining odors. And that's how you can take something that's wood and stinky and secondhand and turn it into something you can use in your home. We're actually using that dresser now for blanket storage in our house.
That's awesome.
It comes out great.
Yep.
Wow at the comments. I've been running my mouth and you guys have been talking to me.
Yep. We've got one Little Village Farmhouse. We're so glad to see you over here now. She said that she was on Instagram before.
Well, yeah, we've had some technical issues with our systems playing well with Instagram, so we'll probably be sort of focusing on these venues now, but we're glad you made it over here.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, Mel says she had Royal Dalton, must have been in a smoking house, used your product and it took the yellow and the smoke smell right off. Well, fantastic. I'm glad it worked out for you.
Awesome. That's right. Oh, and Brenda Morgan says that they import oysters and open them and take the pearls out and make jewelry with pearls.
That's cool.
Ooh, I'd like to see some of those.
I don't think I've ever seen an actual pearl in an oyster. Oh, Little Village, it's important to use chemicals safely, especially on food items. Absolutely. Remember, OdoBan disinfectant is not approved for use on food contact surfaces. Anything like the plates that you think might have food, you're talking dish detergent, make sure you're using the right stuff. That's an excellent point. As a chemist, I'm going to jump up and down on that one.
Heck yeah.
Man, you guys are all hanging out with us. I love this. So the next thing we need to talk about, we've got a lot of stuff that is difficult to clean like this. Have you guys run into anything that you had a hard time cleaning? What's the hardest thing that you've ever had to clean that you picked up secondhand?
That's right. Tell us in the comments.
Tell us in the comments, sir. We'd like to hear about it. Now, we got a bunch of cool secondhand stuff here, but I got to ask you, Val. What is this wrinkled egg-looking thing? You haven't talked about that.
What do you think it is?
Well, it looks like some sort of wrinkled egg statue, but other than that, I got nothing that's appropriate for mass distribution.
It's actually a morel mushroom. It's a statue of a morel mushroom.
They're not that big, and that's awfully hard to be a morel mushroom.
It's actually cement.
It's cement.
It's cement.
And why do you have
painted.
a cement morel mushroom?
Well, let's see. My dad was from Southeast Ohio.
Okay.
He was in Wellston, Ohio, is where he was from, Jackson County.
All right.
And up there in that region, they have morel mushrooms in the spring. They just pop up everywhere.
Oh, I've heard about this. You can go morel hunting and actually collect them.
And they used to do that all the time. Well, he was back home on vacation, and he was downtown, and he looks over, and then the window box of the funeral home is the biggest morel mushroom he's seen, growing right there in the window box downtown. So I mean, it wasn't like even out on on actual earth. Well, on the ground. Anyway, so he goes in and he's talking to him because he knows them, small town.
Small town, right? Yeah. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. So he mentioned about it, and they were like, "Well, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and pick it." So he did. And then they took him over to the newspaper and had his picture taken, and they put it in the paper and this write-up. It was about, this is about 8 inches tall, but the mushroom was about 4 inches tall.
4 inches is pretty big for a morel.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
He was like the mushroom king.
So your dad is the king of morel mushrooms of Wellston, Ohio, and picked mushrooms at the funeral home. He got his picture in the paper.
Yeah, so I don't know how this came about. I don't know whether somebody gave it to him because they knew this, or
he's the morel king, of course.
Or if he got it at a garage sale or a flea market. We used to go to the Daytona flea market all the time. So it's like, I don't know. I cannot recall, but I just somehow inherited it.
Well, it seems like a pretty fantastic reason to have a morel mushroom statue.
It's different. It's a conversation piece.
Brenda says hi from Aurelia, Ontario.
Oh, wow. Yay.
So I bet it's really cold up there. It finally got a little cold here this morning, but I bet it's a lot colder in Ontario.
That's true. Yeah, and it is very heavy. A sewing table. Okay, Little Village Farmhouse says a sewing table. It had mouse droppings, snake skins, mold, and you name it. It's now beautifully displayed in our enclosed porch and not a trace of anything it came with. I used OdoBan and water on it.
There you go.
Yay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
This stuff's fantastic. Oh, Brienne says the buffet you saw the picture of, Brienne's watching. Why aren't you working? Brienne said the buffet smelled like hoarder and 200-year-old house.
Ew.
I'm telling you, if you've been in a hoarder's house, you know this smell. Oh God, Haley. Her dad must have been a fun guy. That's my kind of joke.
He was, yeah. Well, I always refer to that as funeral home fungus.
Funeral home fungus. Yum.
Oh,
man. So, I've had a lot of fun talking about junk here with you guys. But I'm thinking maybe we should give something away.
Ooh, I'm thinking
we're going to win
so.
something?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you pick us.
But before we announce the winners.
Got to invite everybody.
That's right. We want you to like the Facebook page. We want you to subscribe to YouTube and, ring that little bell for us. And if you want to get over to that page, go to OdoShow. And don't forget to check us out on a podcast on Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher.
All over the place. Yeah, Odo.show is fun. There's a lot of fun little videos there that are stuff we don't typically release on the live stream here, that you guys may not have seen that you'll get a kick out of. So check that out.
And there's some
if
good
you
tips in there along the way, too.
Yeah, we do a few tips here and there.
That's right.
All right, so you got a name for us?
I do.
What is our first name?
Okay, our first commenter is Haley Alexis.
Haley, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for the comment.
Yeah, we enjoy hanging out here.
That's right. And then we've got Mel Morgan.
Mel, good job. Talent to win.
That's right. And Little Village Farmhouse. Thank you for coming over.
Fantastic. Good seeing you guys here. Now, if we called your name, send us your personal contact information on a personal message, shipping, mailing, that sort of thing, where you want your stuff sent. And don't put it on the public feed, because if you put it out in public, we're just liable to show up and eat all your snacks and hang it on your couch.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. Sounds good.
So check in with us. We hope to see you again next time. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Get out and hit the thrift stores and find some cool stuff that you can clean up.
That's right. Thanks for sharing your stuff with us.
Good seeing you guys.